We're very cold.
It's only a bike, come on, it's only a bike!
Well, we just took a massive detour. Back in early March this year, I received an exciting message out of the blue from my friend David, aka Cousin Dave, asking if I would like to do a coast-to-coast ride with him. His idea was to do the Way of the Roses route, which is a 170-mile signposted route from Morecambe Bay on the west coast to Bridlington on the east coast. David had done this same ride 2 years earlier, and I had been really keen to do it myself one day. The plan was to do the ride over 3 days from Friday morning until Sunday afternoon in late June, with 2 overnight stops in hotels, carrying everything we needed on our bikes. After many months of excited planning and dreaming, the day had finally arrived.
Well, this is the morning getting ready to go and do the coast to coast. I'm heading off to Morecambe soon. Got the bike ready, bike rack on there ready. David's bike here. No pedals, but we'll soon sort that out. Gotta say I'm pretty nervous, but hopefully we'll have a really good time.
One of the trickiest parts about planning this ride was the logistics of getting to the start point and getting home at the end. Thankfully, my parents offered to drive my car back from the start point in Morecambe, and my wife offered to drive and bring my daughter to meet us at the end point in Bridlington.
Morning, alright?
Nervous, but excited.
Hey, the pedals. Hey, they're lightweight, they are.
You ready? We're all nervous, ready to go.
The journey to Morecambe took about 3 hours and it rained cats and dogs the whole way. We both kept wondering what on earth we were letting ourselves in for. Thankfully, the rain stopped just before we arrived, but it was still colder than a polar bear's fridge, so it was time to put on every item of clothing we had. Next, it was time for a nice big greasy breakfast together with my parents in the Eric Morecambe Cafe to prepare us for the 65-mile ride ahead. Having done the route before, David recommended that we do the ride on hardtail mountain bikes to take advantage of good brakes and gears, and we both had adapted the bikes with road tyres. We also decided to carry our equipment in large saddlebags rather than using a rucksack to reduce the amount of back sweat to a more manageable trickle.
That looks about right, isn't it, in terms of...
Thread, you mean?
No, in terms of being in alignment.
Yeah, I don't really know what you mean.
In terms of so they're not both go the same direction. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's alright, I know. So that when one leg's up, one leg's down, that's what I mean.
After some last-minute confusion over installing pedals, and with bikes prepared, it was time to get the obligatory starting photo with the infamous statue of Eric Morecambe.
Are you ready to go then, David? What do you think?
Yes, Gareth.
We're very cold. Freezing.
I can't even get my leg over that bag.
Thank you.
You sure you don't want an ice cream before we go?
Then dip the bike wheels in the sea near the official start sign,
Officially dipped in the water.
and finally grab some quick photos.
Right.
We set off in good spirits despite the strong wind trying to throw us off the bikes and being freezing cold. We were both so delighted that the rain had finally stopped.
Well, it is pretty well signposted, I have to say.
This first day's ride was expected to be about 55 miles, ending with an overnight stay in the tiny village of Appletreewick. Surprisingly, the first 8 miles or so was on a flat, smooth bike trail rather than road. By the time we completed the first section, we had finally started to warm up, so we stopped to remove a layer of clothing and enjoy the view.
I've just ridden out of Morecambe now and we've been on trail pretty much the whole way. Very flat.
Very flat.
Yeah. So I think we're going to pay for that soon. No idea where we are.
8 miles.
Is that what we've done? 8 miles?
Yep.
Already? Blimey. It's quite a view down there though. after a quick chocolate-based blood sugar boost, we set off again and quickly found ourselves off the bike trail and on roads for the rest of the day.
Well, first proper hill. I really feel the weight of the bags.
Oh no!
What?
I didn't know you were filming. Stop panting.
It's definitely what you might call undulating now. There's a chap muck spreading just over here. It stinks so bad. I've been literally gagging. Oh my gosh, that stinks.
During planning, I had imagined the ride to be very different. Instead of riding through many picturesque villages as I had thought it would be, we found ourselves riding on beautiful, remote, uninhabited roads with very little traffic, or in fact, very little anything.
So we've been on, we've done about 15 miles, we've been on flat trail, we've been on quite a bit of road now, and we've been mostly downhill, which I can't really understand how that's possible since we started at sea level. And I'm still waiting for one of these fabled coffee stops that David keeps talking about. He keeps promising me a coffee stop. I bet you didn't know we were going to become shepherds. Shepherds on bikes. I feel like we're on top of the world, it's crazy. Although if we're going up there, that's going to hurt.
David had promised many coffee stops along the way based on his memories from 2 years earlier, but my craving for coffee and carbs went unfulfilled until we reached Clapham at about lunchtime. This was a place where David had bought a vintage sign 2 years earlier and they had failed to fulfill the promise to post it.
So here we are at the sleepy village of Clapham, about to have our first bit of food. And David's going to go and try and try and find out what happened to his sign he ordered 2 years ago from this place.
Having now covered 28 miles, we both ordered lunch and enjoyed a well-earned rest.
Oh, the cookie jacket potato, that cookie.
Yeah, probably mostly cooked. I really don't think it's that cheeky to ask for access to, if they mind filling up with the bottles.
Let's fill it up.
Right.
After lunch and a cheeky top-up of our water bottles,
No, it's not, it's over there.
I'm saying it's not.
Famous last words.
David and my GPS had a disagreement over the directions.
We're way off the trail.
Despite David saying many times during the morning that he didn't remember any of the route so far, he suddenly decided he remembered this part better than my sat-nav. And as you can see, we both had very different attitudes to the prospect of being lost.
David's absolutely convinced we should go that way. And the map definitely says that way.
That way.
You reckon?
Yeah. If not, we'll come back round.
How will we know when it's the right way or not?
I don't remember going right.
If in doubt, head in...
Completely wrong direction.
Yeah. I just really don't know how we could possibly know whether this is right or not, apart from the fact that the map says the opposite direction.
I know, I remember coming up a hill after eating.
Yeah, but it's not this hill, it's over there.
It is, it's definitely a hill.
Mate, it's the wrong way.
It's not. 100% not. Good games to go. Yeah,
You remember riding up this? Yeah. Dog attack.
David was blissfully optimistic that he had remembered correctly, but the extremely rough track we were on filled me with doubt.
So you remember coming up here?
yes.
We're still not back on the route though. I'm not sure your if in doubt turn right necessarily is correct all the time. Hello cow. Whoa! The whole way, David says he doesn't remember any of this trail. Apart from suddenly he decides he remembers this bit, which isn't on the trail. That's it, the Garmin's finally happy that we're back on the trail again.
Eventually we rejoined my GPS map and I had to grudgingly admit that David had been right all along.
You really do get to see some areas of the country doing this that you would never see before.
What followed was another 8 miles of beautifully remote country roads, again with none of the fabled coffee and cake shops. Our next stop was at the small town of Settle, where we had a quick whistle-stop tour of the town, followed by an ice cream break.
Right, so we've done 36 miles now. We've stopped off at a place called Settle to get an ice cream and a drink. Just have a bit of a potter around. Very nice.
Blimey.
There you go.
Alright, thank you.
And we both nearly choked on some of David's favourite treat, sugared almonds.
Protein as well. I feel like I'm chewing a rock. Right, ready? Yeah. Let's hit the road.
As we left town, David was being very mysterious. He had talked many times previously about a hill that had nearly made him quit 2 years earlier, but claimed not to remember where it was. I found out later that he had been keeping it deliberately quiet for a laugh, and we were about to hit that climb now.
Is this the nasty climb? Yes. This is the one? Yes. Does it go on for a long time? This is the one that I said. Did you? This is the bit I remember. Is it evil? Yes. Is it long? So this is the climb that David said nearly finished him off last time. And it does look like it goes on and on and on. Crikey.
It's only a hill.
It's only a bike. Come on, it's only a bike.
About halfway up the hill, a driver and then a group of cyclists stopped to tell us that the road was closed at the top due to a fatal cycling accident.
The road's closed, the main road is closed.
So what's the alternative?
Died on the bike, so
Oh dear.
can't get through. The police turned us back, so we built it.
So how are you going to get to where you're going? So, not far off the top now, but 2 people have stopped and told us that there's been some sort of crash on a bike or something pretty nasty. So, decent chance we might get turned back, but we both want to finish the hill really and say we've done it. Probably get turned back and then goodness knows where we'll go. Well, that's it. Hill done. Let's see what we have to do now to do a detour.
In the end, neither of us found the climb to be as tough as expected.
See where we find out if we've got any other alternatives.
After reaching the top and the police roadblock, we decided to take advantage of our self-professed excellent mountain biking skills and attempt to find a detour off-road.
Well, basically, if we go down here and then head left, we can. It's still better than going back down, I think.
At first, the detour looked very promising and was only mildly rougher than road.
Nice little detour, if it gets us in the right place, eventually.
But after a few miles, the track started to get dramatically more rustic.
But I am confident that we will eventually, maybe, come out where we need to be. We're running parallel, and if it goes left at all, we're going to be heading towards the road. But there's no thorns around, is there? There's no hedges. Don't worry, Otterburn will have all the answers.
Eventually, the track turned into a poorly marked footpath across a waterlogged and overgrown field.
I think you said we need to head left, didn't you?
Yeah, if you look here, look, that's where we are.
Yeah.
That's the road over there.
Right, so if we get that one.
Yeah.
An encounter with Highland cattle caused a hasty retreat across an even more overgrown field.
Oh dear, nettle time. So how'd you get it over? Lift it?
Yeah, I would help you, but I'm a bit worried about
Oh, good grief! Ugh.
what's the difference when you put it down.
That's heavy. What a detour.
It's not something that's easy as trying to lift it over the bridge.
Yeah, probably is. Can you see something hopeful? Might have been quicker to just go back down the road.
But eventually, after about 4 miles, we rejoined the road and were thrilled to be back on course.
We found it, the detour worked. Success. Course found. Well, we just took a massive detour across fields, across all kinds of stuff, just to avoid an accident on this road. Probably about a mile that way. And now I've just seen cars coming down. Maybe suggests it's open now. So we've done 42 miles, got no idea how much further we have to go. Police are like, there's been a fatality accident, somebody's been killed. And cars are like, okay, let me drive back the other way as fast as I possibly can then, past these cyclists. So you see a big sign there, look, roses, where are the roses? Oh boy, another nasty climb, 16%. I'm just talking to my many subscribers, all 60 of them. At least 2 of them are people I begged to join at work. Notice with bikes and caravans that people will do almost anything to avoid being behind you, and they'll take their own lives into their hands rather than be stuck behind you.
A little further on, as we were both tired, we took the decision to skip a planned detour into the village of Grassington and head straight for our hotel in Appletreewick.
So do you think that when we if we go down there and go to the place we're staying, then going up to Grassington is basically a case of coming back here and back up? I don't know, Appletreewick might have stuff there as well, I don't know. Well, it is a pub we're going to anyway, so. There's a lot less places to stay than I was imagining, really.
Just deflated.
Just with you and choking on those sugared almonds. And now me choking on this. Oops, littering. Well, just 6 miles to go, we think. Uphill, probably, and we're both sore bums. If we get there and they say, oh, sorry, you're a bit late, we're giving your rooms away, they might end up carting me away for murder. I hate farmers. Stink.
Despite the sign to Appletreewick saying it was 6 miles, it seemed that we were riding forever.
I just can't believe that we're going to go around a corner somewhere along this road and there's going to be a hotel somewhere. It's madness. Who are, mate?
You're on the way.
Who are? Do you mean Applewick? The tree's silent. Still no Appletreewick. Could we be in the fabled Appletreewick? Maybe not. Not yet. Hey, Appletreewick! Yeah!
Eventually we saw the sign showing we had arrived in Appletreewick and found our hotel, one of only 2 pubs in the village.
The New Inn, I think it's called. Here it is. The New Inn. Whew. So you got a choice of 2 pubs. This one's got great food though. Finally arrived at the New Inn, Appletreewick. Pretty sure there was some witchcraft going on because it would say 6 miles to go, then we'd cycle 5 miles, and then we'd see another sign that would say 4 miles to go. So, but we'd never get here.
The hotel we had chosen was bike friendly and had a handy, secure storage garage for our bikes.
It says on here good food, so. Not just good food, great food. Hey look, a phone box with an actual phone in it. Slender. Are you holding it in?
We were checked in at a glacial pace and eventually shown to our room, where I realised to my horror that I had lost my wallet. As soon as I noticed it was missing, I realised that it must have fallen out of my bag in the middle of the field during our extensive off-road detour. I resigned myself to the fact that I would never see it again and planned to beg and borrow from David for the next 2 days. We headed down to the bar to get some much needed food, but once in the bar, what happened next astounded us both.
Oh, did you do the same thing we did, going all right across the fields?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, because the road was blocked.
Yeah, you see, you went down that track and then.
Yeah, she said, "Oh,
climb up the seesaw?"
Yeah, so try that.
Lost.
Yeah,
we did.
A group of cyclists from Kent had ended up taking the same detour we had taken and amazingly had found my wallet. I'm not sure who was more amazed, them or us.
I honestly.
Buy a drink yet.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Anyway, you know it's time to get out anyway. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kicking myself because it's just up here. I just noticed, and I know.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because we were going along, and a load of my stuff fell out the bag, and I was like, oh damn it! So I picked it up and put it back in. But I never even thought about the wallet being in there. So as soon as I realised I was missing, I knew exactly where it was. Can you put these guys a drink each on my room, please?
Yeah,
Don't worry about him.
mine's a triple grey goose, mate.
I gratefully bought them all a much-deserved pint and settled down to possibly the best tasting pie I had ever had. We had both really enjoyed the day's ride and we were looking forward to the next day. We finished the night in the bar with far too many beers and an enjoyable chat with our newfound friends from Kent.